Oh man, that's such a cool intro. I love that intro so much. That's real fun. Okay.
Thanks.
I'm gonna get it together. Give me a second. It made me really happy. That intro made me really happy. That was fantastic. I might, like I said, I might keep it forever. I might edit out that last little Rel Presents thing, and like I've got OBS. I'll just sloppily stick on the GitOps Guide to the Galaxy, completely mismatched, bright orange. I do what I want here, YOLO. Like it's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, good morning, GitOpsians, and welcome back to GitOps Guide to the Galaxy. This is episode 99, which is very exciting that we've been doing this for 99 episodes. And I also have no idea what episode 100 is, but now Jonny and I have to actually sit down and think about that. So, making me do work. Jonny's not here. He had a family event at his child's school. He decided that was more important. How dare he? But that's okay, because today I have Ben and Valentin with me, and they're going to talk to us about Project Hummingbird, which I think is really fantastic. I begged them to come on the stream. They were kind enough to agree, and I will let them handle their own introductions. So between yourselves, quickly decide who's going and do the things.
Valentin, go first.
I just wanted to say Ben because then I could have said my old joke that I'm Ben's emotional support engineer.
You can still
Thanks
say that.
for having us. So I'm Ben's emotional support engineer, engineer at Red Hat. I've been at Red Hat for a bit over 7 years. Have a container background, so I came to join to work on Cloudman and the container tools. Did it for many years. In fact, I was the first external maintainer. And then I really wanted to work on this team with Dan Walsh and others for sure. Many side gigs with Ben before. We were working on something called image mode and bootable containers. And before that, we were teaming up on edge computing and containers. And I spent quite some fun time last year. It's 26 now. Last year on Agentic AI. And then Ben and we got remarried at work and are now working on Hummingbird. So Ben, how about you?
Yeah. So I just hit 15 years not too long ago, Red Hat. So that's, I don't know, that's like 100 years at a normal company or something. But yeah, so it's been amazing, obviously. And I've been in product management for a decade now. So I'm on the Rel team, but like for a long time, I was kind of the skin or connective tissue between OpenShift and Rel. So, you know, I got into containers very early. You know, I remember picking Dan Walsh up from the airport like the day the CoreOS guys announced Rocket and all the drama and stuff was wild back then. But yeah, it was awesome. And so I worked on, you know, basically all of our immutable operating system flavors over the years, which was great. As Valentin said, he and I worked really closely on image mode and bootc. That was cool. That's actually where I got into GitOps, because I no longer do sysadministration. All of my Linux systems are 100% built and managed by pipelines, which of course Valentin helped me set up because I'm a product manager, but they still run, which is amazing. So I don't do any of that anymore. But yeah, right. And so now, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I love the brag and the flex, and then the admission that Valentin did it for you.
Valentin got me started. I did the long tail of everything, but yeah, like I needed a little bit of Renovate bot help on the front end.
Oh my gosh, Renovate bot is so fantastic. But I wrote a book last year on platform engineering with a few colleagues. This year I'm writing a book on AI ops with a couple other, one of the same colleagues and one different colleague. My chapter that I literally just turned in, I have a whole section on Renovate. And I will say, as much as I love that thing, once the instrumentation is done, the documentation was a little challenging. And I have some thoughts. And if I get around to like putting my brain back on, I may go ahead and make some pull requests over there.
Yeah, but it's amazing.
It's
tech,
so good.
Right? Like
it's so good. And I think
we use it all the time, everywhere.
Yeah.
I think the thing that was the docs don't make it seem like it's as flexible and powerful as it is. That's really the problem with the docs. It's not that they don't tell you what to do, it's they didn't really make it clear the scope of what you can do. You need to like go find like some Medium blogs and other stuff from people who've done it already to kind of piece together that. So it's actually like, I hope I did a good job in the chapter I wrote, in the section I wrote on it. Spoiler alert, I don't know that I did. But it's super powerful, super flexible. I just don't think it's really as obvious in the documentation, all of its capabilities as it could be. That's really the criticism I have, not that the docs aren't thorough.
But come on, that's true with most technology, right? Like it's a fair thing on to save out a lot of open source.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I will say the one, God bless the docs people, you know?
Oh,
seriously, the least
absolutely.
appreciated.
And no matter how good docs are, people always gonna be like, "Man, they suck." But it's
I know, right?
Do they? Like, did you read them? Most people don't read them.
And tell me how it turns out for you. Go. No,
I saw that somebody wrote on the chat that they prefer Podman over Docker, but here are my props to Docker. The docs are excellent.
The docs are fantastic.
This is really important, but it's really hard for many open source projects to find time to invest on it, right? You're focused on or just trying to keep up with fixing the bugs and triaging everything and getting features done here and there in between coffees or over Christmas. But I feel like now in the age of AI agents, having good docs is getting much easier.
Yes.
So it came up step by step, like in the last year or so, I felt like that tech writers are really prompt engineers in the future, because when you start tools like Claude somewhere, really the docs need to be understood by AI agents as well. Yeah. So you write docs now for both, for humans and machines.
Yeah.
And this I find a super, super interesting angle, and I really find it perceive it to be extremely helpful during development.
Yeah. Oh God, I love. 90% of what I use Copilot for is like, hey, tell me where this thing is and like the exact data paths for this particular piece. It does it so much faster than I could ever hope to. I don't need it to write the code for me. Sure, it's fine. I end up going back and editing it anyway because it doesn't really do it the way I want to do it, or stylistically the way I would do it. But yeah, so it's definitely. But that docs thing. The thing is you still need the docs writers, right? You're never getting rid of the docs writers because one, AI loses the plot sometimes. Love it, but it does. And two, it's so verbose that eyes over thing happens right quick. So you do need a docs writer to still get in there and refine it and be like, okay, let's just do the needful. Like, what are the words that are adding value, and what is the fluff that is not? Because especially
sometimes it sounds like it's from the Department of Redundancy department,
right?
You know.
Yeah, a little bit. So, there's some things in there that are challenging, but then I was writing parts of this book that I'm working on while recovering from a significant shoulder surgery. And so I was like really high on pain meds. And I turned in a draft that I had done half of while on pain medication. And my editor goes, hey, is this AI generated? Because we're not supposed to be doing AI generated. I was like, nope. It's the narcotics. It's fine, guys. I'll fix it now that I'm not on pain meds. It's good. But that was hilarious. That was very, very funny. And they knew I was recovering from a surgery and everything like that when we did this whole situation. So that wasn't like shocking to them. It was just really funny for everybody.
But by the way, it's just cool to see that we have the founder of Napster in chat saying hello. So I've always wanted to meet Sean Parker. So it's great. Great to meet.
You know what? We've had weirder things happen in the stream than the founder of Napster showing up. You never know. We never know. We had there was like a dedicated Linux like Twitch streamer, and like at least there was years ago. And I don't really know anything about the stream. I can't even remember the name. He sent everybody to our live stream one time, so all of a sudden we just had like hundreds of people watching and like active comments saying hello, and they were really polite. I forget what that word is, like when you like go like dive bomb a different stream.
Let's just go with love bombing.
It was a love bomb. It really was. It really was a love bomb. They were super nice. They were super polite. And most of them stuck around and watched the whole stream, actually.
Nice.
This is
It was
fantastic.
pretty great. That was fantastic. So you know what, Sean Parker, founder of Napster or not, we're still happy to have you. Right, Project Hummingbird though. That's why we're here. So I told you this is not a serious stream. Very easily distracted. But yeah, Project Hummingbird. So the reason I asked you guys on was I heard about Project Hummingbird. I had just been talking to some colleagues about kind of how necessary something in that space was, especially when we're looking at things like especially like the NPM situation lately with vulnerabilities and worms and everything that's been happening in that particular project. But it's not like hate on NPM a little bit, but it's not restricted just to them. It's absolutely everywhere anymore. And so we've been talking about this, and I was like, we got to figure out something. And then like a couple weeks, months later, I hear about Project Hummingbird, and I was like, okay, one, this is like so foundational to how we even like come up with a deployment to, and then like now we've got GitOps around that whole situation, right? Such a foundational like piece of it. And two, so critical, like such a like the criticality of knowing that what you are going to be putting in production is secure, especially for enterprise users, but really anybody, because everybody's highly regulated anymore. I feel like is not the Wild West of software that I came up with, where we were pushing code to the production via FTP, not even SFTP, right. Just FTP, right? Not doing that anymore. So talk us a little bit through, maybe you, Ben, walk us through like Project Hummingbird, like maybe if you have a little bit of like the inception history, that could be really fun for us. And then I know you had like some assets you want me to share. So as you're talking, you hit on the thing, I'll put it in the chat for the audience.
Yeah. So I guess let's go back a decade, right? Containers have been mainstream for a decade. We mentioned Docker earlier. Kudos to that team, right? Because the whole element of like the image was so huge and profound, and just being able to push there, right? Like that is what the whole CNCF ecosystem really sits on top of that, right? And frankly, I was actually just reflecting on this last night for something else. Like you think about virtualization caught on, like that was a crazy wave, right? But it was because all of the things you did previously in a bare metal world, like they just work in Vert. You could do them better, but those things still carry forward. And like in containers, most applications and processes, like it just works because it's freaking Linux, right? Under the covers. And so you can easily carry on. Now, yeah, there are some things that are more complex. And of course, that's why we need a Kubernetes orchestrator and a million other things, right? But like we still carry like the compatibility from the past, which is awesome. And so like all the big distributions made base images, right? Which is like, if you think of like like an EC2 image you just spin up, it's like, these days if you're pulling things from the catalog, you're probably firing off Ansible, or maybe you have some type of automation or using Packer or something that gets you into a state where you can then deploy your instances on top of, right? And the images just serve to get you like to value fast, right? And in the container space, it's like even faster, even easier, right? Because these base images are really easy. And this is, of course, the Docker file or container file.
Much easier.
Yeah. Like my parents they understand verbs like run, copy. They don't know what comes after run, but like they get run, right? So
yeah. Have fun using QEMU on the CLI, right? I feel dumb every time.
And so it again, the time to value, right, with containers is amazing. There's a billion other advantages, right? But the image itself captures so much of that, right? That we just make it in there. And so I think so that was kind of the first wave, was just all the distros have base images, right? And you pick your favorite one and go. I think one of the first optimizations we saw was the size one, right? This is when like Alpine and the Google distro list, all this stuff, like we were optimizing for side because it made pulls fast, it made builds faster, all this stuff. And so that was great. And so I think where we're at today, where it's around hardening and around reducing CVE and attack surface, all of these things today, this is like a sign of maturity in the whole container, like really Kubernetes CNCF land. Or what do we call it? Do people still say container native or cloud native? I feel like that word's lost to me.
Yeah.
Do you still say cloud native?
Okay. It is, because it's the cloud native computing foundation. So if it's part of that ecosystem, it's cloud native.
Okay. So I think, but to me, it's a real sign of maturity, the fact that this is a hot space. And so, over the past, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, right? There's like a lot of startups around making hardened images. They're not all startups, right? Like the good people at Canonical have been doing chiseled for a while. Obviously, Docker just released DHI. There's of course our the lovely people at ChainGuard have a great offering. Like there's a lot in this space, right? And so
Microsoft has some good too.
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm
Also the big vendors. They
never write off Microsoft, right?
Yeah. Never write off Microsoft. I don't know if you guys know me from the context of pretty much just this stream and me harassing you to be on it. I don't know if you know what my day job is. I'm a senior principal site reliability engineer, and the team I work on builds Azure, Red Hat, OpenShift.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So now, never write off Microsoft, and also extra never write off Arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm probably getting too long-winded on the history side, but so I guess we, Red Hat, we looked at the space and it's like, well, a lot of these are really expensive. Security has a price, software sustainability has a price, right? Like nothing is free, right? It always takes energy or time or something. But then the depth of breadth, which people are building and shipping things that they may or may not have expertise in. So there's like expertise, there's cost, and then like, are these startups going to exist in 6 to 24, 36 months? Like I don't know. So
that's a real question.
Yeah. And so this was like where Red Hat were like, well, this is packaging. It's all in our wheelhouse. We know how to do this. We have the automation. We have the next gen build systems, which are all OpenShift and Tecton based, right? Conflux is the heart of it. And so it really felt like the time was right to put Hummingbird together. So sorry, that was long-winded. I don't know, Valentin, tell us a little bit about Hummingbird.
Thanks, Ben. I loved how you put it, that it's historically really a sign of maturity. And I agree. I totally agree to that. So I think for us, it was like Red Hat, like a very natural fit, because we've been doing this for a couple of decades. We're the biggest open source company. We have our fingers in pretty much all upstreams that exist.
We have to, because of that sustainability thing, right? If we want to use something, we need to know that that's a sustainable technical choice we've made, which means we need to commit to making it so, right? That's really the biggest thing. And that's actually a team I worked on a couple teams ago. We were like, oh, we want to do this thing. It had one maintainer, but it was what we needed. The engineer who was assigned to it, he reached out to the guy and was like, hey, can we build a relationship here? We would like to use this. But we also would need features and improvements and guaranteed like security stuff. What do you need from us to prove that we're serious? And he went out and I think that maintainer was super stoked that like Red Hat was like, hey, yo. But we got people on the project. That was not 6 years ago. God, I haven't been here that long. 4 years ago. It was like roughly 4 years ago, we'll say. And we're still, somehow I'm still copied on everything that happens in that repo. I need to maybe go turn that off. But yeah, we're still bumping fixes and making changes and keeping it alive. We have to.
We have absolutely, and we contribute and own a large part of the open source space as well. So I think what I found somehow funny when looking into the space is when I realized, okay, there's this new market with these cool new offerings. A lot of really cool startups with great products are popping up, and a big part is the velocity of shipping fixes, right? And being close to upstreams where the work is happening. And at some point I realized, well, we at Red Hat do have an upstream first policy. So when let's say there is a bug, a security fix that needs that we find in RHEL, which quite often happens to have not the latest and greatest, but frozen in time, stable, really rock solid, super hardened security and depth. Things need to get backported. but Red Hat engineers fix the CVEs first upstream, and then they get backported to the Red Hat products. So it was kind of interesting to realize that a large part of this entire supply chain happens because of Red Hat and the investment into open source and into security. So we had all the pieces already somehow in place. And what you can see is that, well, we know how to build a distribution. As Ben mentioned, we have all these cool next-gen pipeline tools already. We have all the experts in the company. And now with Hummingbird, we married these two things into a very, very performant and potent pipeline to ship software to containers and build containers as fast as possible. So let's say there's a new Ben's favorite project. Ben, what's your favorite tool? Let's say curl. Oh, I'm making things up now.
Everybody loves
Let's say there's
curl.
Everybody loves
there's
curl.
everybody loves curl. Absolutely. And talking about this, I think the entire internet is based around curl. You see it everywhere. All pipelines are bash and curl, and it's amazing.
There's a wget2 joke in there, but let's move on.
So the where we're going to is there. Imagine there's a fix or some new release upstream, maybe a patch, major or minor version bump for curl. The goal is to ship it within less than 24 hours, so as fast as possible. That means the RPM gets updated, built, and tested in the Hummingbird pipeline and factory, then gets injected into the containers for curl. Same thing, build, tested, and shipped. So, and this is what we're doing for, or we're still in the process of building some parts of it. But for curl, this is already working right now. So it's pretty cool to get there. And for this, we don't need an army of new engineers because we already have all the engineers, all the experts there. So it's really a plumbing work that we're doing because, as I mentioned, I think I'm under the risk of repeating myself. We have all the expertise here. We're playing Lego at the moment to meet the needs of this market. And it's really rewarding and cool to see all the interest into the project from, well, inside of Red Hat, such as you, Hilliary, outside of Red Hat, the open source community, many customers, existing and new ones that are pretty excited about that. So it's pretty nice to see that. We were talking about Docker and all the great things it did to developers. So it's a huge brand there. It's nice to see over and over again, that the recognition of Red Hat in the infrastructure market, on the Linux enterprise market, to see that, the trust that is being put into our hands.
Yeah, and I think, so from my perspective, right, so the product I work on it's a managed service, right? So I'm going to pretend that you don't know what that means because there's probably somebody who will watch this who doesn't. What a managed service means is that we build the service, right, Azure Red Hat OpenShift. We make it available for customer utilization, but then the SRE team that I'm on, we also support, we basically have a service level agreement around the availability of the OpenShift API server. And we have automation that makes sure that thing is healthy, which makes sure that the cluster is available, the console is useful, et cetera, right? But it's a managed service. And so we are also, experts on behalf of the customers who utilize it. They count on us for that expertise, not just like us specifically as like the SRE, which yes, but like Red Hat entirely to have that expertise. So we do see some level of inquiries when we see something, like I said, like the NPM word. What do they call it? They called it sand. No, they named it after the sandworm in Dune, but I can't remember the name.
Shai-Hulud.
Shai-Hulud, thank you. I've never actually read Dune. I've only watched the first of the two movies, although it was a great movie, and I know I need to read Dune. I'll get there. It's actually on my bookshelf back there. Anyway.
Did you know that the original Dune, the band Toto does a soundtrack for it? Like the David Lynch one.
Yes,
I did not, and I'm a huge Toto fan as a bass player. I have to.
You know, I should have
Right.
just had you guys play your musical instruments for this. Honestly, if I had known about this situation,
It's out of
it would have been
control
a different
here.
stream. It would have been a different stream.
Nobody wants to hear a bass solo, I think, except Ben.
I mean, that's not true. Anybody who likes jazz music wants to hear a bass solo.
Next time, maybe here you go. We got the plan for number 100.
Yeah, episode 100. We're gonna get a bass solo. You're on the hook now for it. You signed up. You agreed. You don't have to do it live. You can just send me the audio. But unfortunately, now you do have to deliver that. I will be checking.
The Spinal Tap Jazz Odyssey.
Yeah. Anyhow, where was I saying with this? Right.
Managed services.
Managed services.
Yeah,
Thank
NPM.
you. What can I say? We're not quite back to work yet, at least for me. So the right. So we do get inquiries though when things like this happen. Like, hey, we're doing scanning. We're not seeing anything. Is there something we should be doing?
Right.
Someplace we should be looking? What's the surface area? Because even though we technically publish all this stuff and we have all these, various certifications around FedRAMP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, like people still they do a due diligence check, right? They double, triple, quadruple check because we've got something that big, some like day zero level thing, right? You do. Yeah. And so, the thing is like we were having these conversations about it because in our project, like we're pulling in every now and again, we're like, okay, it's a Go project, gonna do this thing over here, et cetera. And like, oh, I need this thing. Oh, look, somebody's put up a Go module. I'll just bring that Go module in. And you'll see, and I think this probably happens on a lot of pull requests. I'm particularly fussy about this because I'm gonna be like, why are you pulling this Go module in? Who's maintaining it? Where did it come from? When was it last updated? How do we know it's going to continue to meet our requirements for FedRAMP compliance? Is this providing enough value to bring in versus like I mentioned this problem to Chris Wright. And he was like, yeah, sometimes we just got to all right, I'm going to fork it and rebuild it internally. And then I'm just going to have to maintain that internally. Sorry, that's what's best for our security posture, right? Hope Chris doesn't mind me quoting him. And it's like, yeah, like sometimes maybe that's what we should be doing. So then we have these discussions and we do this due diligence check, which is why we have peer review. And then it's so bad because like, if you're the engineer who put up the pull request and you brought in the new dependency, you better have like your proof. What is that? The Pythagorean theorem where you would do the proofs in geometry? I wasn't great at math, but you better have that proof ready to go to prove why we need that thing in the landscape that we're in, especially with, we talked about AI earlier. AI is really like, it's one of those things, like it's really powerful. So therefore it can be powerfully good or powerfully bad. Roll for your D&D alignment. Is it chaotic good, chaotic evil, good, neutral good, neutral, whatever, right? So between that and quantum computing as well, right? You're not just fighting a little fire on the front lines of security. You are fighting a blazing inferno. That's like whatever the biggest 5-alarm, whatever it is, the size fire, that's actually the size of it. I think sometimes we like put our heads down and try to forget about it because if you let that stress get to you, that will be very stressful. But so it's one of those things where for me, we're seeing this a lot. We're seeing our customers who are highly regulated enterprise customers, they're going through these pains. So the more things that we can make available, to them and point them to and be like, yeah, here's a blog on best practices for having the most secure experience you can possibly have. Here's a this, here's a that, go look at this live stream and learn about Project Hummingbird and sign up for it. Whatever we can do to, for these customers, it is why they trust Red Hat that we can do that we are doing that.
Right.
Yeah. I'll just a couple points there. I was talking to a customer not too long ago, and he's like, what I want to do is focus on the security risks or things like in our applications. I don't want to even think about what's beneath that, right? Like if it comes from you guys, like I don't, it shouldn't even be on a radar.
Correct.
Right. And so that is really kind of the driving like mission, if you will, of Project Hummingbird is if you're running one of our containers, right, is that it's going to come out with a clean scan. Now we're still building this. The scanning stuff is on its way. We're working with all the big scanning partners, so it's going really well. We're getting there. But that's the idea, right? Is like focus where you need to focus, right? Which for many people is at that top tier, right? Which is like where you're actually, getting into the Go stuff or other ecosystems that you're pulling in, and that frame. Another thing, we are working on libraries here at Red Hat. So we have a whole other group that has a PyPy index coming out really soon, which is super cool. And then they're moving on to some of the other languages from there. That would actually make another great episode of this in the future.
Would be.
Good point.
Follow up with me on that and get me connected with those people.
Yeah. Because you can imagine we're working closely with them as well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, security is always going to be like this cat and mouse game, at least for the foreseeable future, right? You can't sit static on things, right? And so, actually, I will say this is like a really positive thing, because we could all sit here and complain about the CVE system is not perfect and it's problematic and flawed. Those complaints aren't like productive, right?
No.
Here's what's productive because of this, because people feel pain around scanning, around vulnerabilities, and like the paperwork behind that, is that it's a forcing function for automation, right? Like I talk to so many people where like the CD part of CI/CD is like fantasy. It's fan fiction, right? But this whole wave of security is like driving progress and giving people like, the desire to go fix the people and process problems that they deal with, which I think that's an amazing outcome for the industry, right? Regardless of what technology you use, right? More of this, the better. And
I'm going to say something really spicy, a really spicy hot take. The CI part is the more important part between CI and CD.
It's where you start, right? It's where you start.
It's not just where you start. It is. I don't like the term shift left because that's a lie. You expand left. You never shift left. You never push everything off onto the person in front of you and in the wherever you are in the build out process, right? You just expand left and create kind of Venn diagrams across the functions. That's really what we're doing. Let's not lie to ourselves. But it's the most effective expand left, because if you, and this is where I'm a reliability engineer now, but I spent over a decade in quality engineering and DevOps, like before I came to Red Hat. And so if you have a really comprehensive CI system that adds the security scanning aspects, that has all the testing, and oh my God, I don't know how many times I need to say this, your testing cannot just be the happy path testing of making sure things work. You also need to test the unhappy path of what happens when I misuse this, provided a malformed response. Like, I need to know how my system breaks, not just how my system works. That's really important. Almost every major security issue to date could have been found with some solid negative test casing in the CI. I would say there's a few, maybe not so much, but like a lot of them, Heartbleed could have. I'm just saying, a lot of them could have been found with high quality negative test casing in the CI systems in those early phases. And maybe for Heartbleed they didn't have CI systems. That was quite a while ago. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how you find these things. So the CI and getting everything to that nice, stable, as good as you can get it, you're never bug free, but you at least know what your bugs are situation. That's the more important thing, to be able to do that continuously than to be able then to also blat it out into production. Like that is such a whatever. Now the reconciliation, that GitOps aspect of making sure that defined state, desired state, and actual state match, that's also really critical. The reconciliation there, super critical for the same reasons CI is. However, that actual like putting something new out, blah, automated, immediate, whatever, I don't care. It's actually not that important. Do it on a schedule. Do it once a month. Do it quarterly. That like release timelines are super unimportant. Solid CI, like regular reconciliation, like they matter. Deployments themselves, you have to do them, but it's not as important. That's my spicy hot take.
I don't disagree. I don't know, Valentin. I've been talking too much. You probably have a higher value opinion than I do.
I mean, since we're getting philosophical at the moment, one thing, in a way, what I like about the evolution of how we're providing and packaging open source software, it's pretty interesting. So when you look at what Fedora and RHEL and other distributions do to open source, is that there's a curated process to maintain, build, test, and ship these projects in curated and lovingly created composition. Like, so the vanilla image of a RHEL ISO, there is decades of experience behind, lots of cooking, making it in a really nice operating system. So sure, people could build everything on their own. That's a lot of work, right? You can compile everything on your own if you choose to. So when you look at containers, you can do the very same thing. You can build each and every container on your own. Ben wants to run MariaDB at home. Sure, no problem. Use base image, DNF install MariaDB, configure everything. And then we get exactly into the problem. Oh, now I need a CI/CD pipeline just to make sure that I consume the fixes that are being shipped. You can follow this is easy on the image level, but how do people make sure that what's being installed, right? The packages that you DNF install on top are the latest and greatest, that you're following security fixes. So it's kind of shocking to see how often I see a DNF update in container files. So you have a trigger every week, right? There is some timer, tick, 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 tick. The image gets rebuilt, the latest tag is being consumed, and then you do a DNF update, just praying that things go down the right path, that things are right. And this is something where really more modern CI/CD pipelines and it can help. We were talking about Renovate, but I love this project so much because it keeps and it keeps our systems clean. As Ben mentioned, for instance, all his stuff runs on image mode. Renovate bot is an integral part in keeping his system up to date. Right? No DNF update anymore. Everything is curated on Ben's side. I'm currently running on a Mac because I'm doing a lot of AI stuff and because of my AI experience earlier last year. But so this is what has happened on the distribution side. And for quite a while, in a way, we used containers, and many people in the community and customers used containers as if it was still somehow a host, like Fedora system where you do DNF update.
Yeah.
But with Hummingbird, the cool thing is, so what Fedora does to open source projects, for a Linux system, Hummingbird is for containers. So instead of building, let's say, the MariaDB container on your own, and then being challenged with maintaining it and lifecycling it, you can just consume the MariaDB Hummingbird image because Hummingbird, the project, takes care of it, right? Let's say there's a new version of a package that happens to be a runtime dependency of MariaDB. Well, what's going to happen is the MariaDB container gets rebuilt, tested, and shipped immediately as soon as one of these packages is being updated. You're really always up to date. You don't have to manage all this stuff. You can just follow it, consume it. You enable Renovate bot. You consume the MariaDB image, and it'll take care to always update it. Or you just run it in Kubernetes or OpenShift, and it can follow the latest and greatest version as well. Or even I saw some Podman users on the chat. I think it was even back then for some of the edge use cases, Ben. Podman auto update. So this
Yeah.
is something I had tons of fun writing Podman auto update. So you can even do this on a single Linux host. You don't need to worry about this stuff anymore. You set up a quadlet with auto update. You use the MariaDB Hummingbird MariaDB image, and bam, it's there. And then you can focus on then you can focus on the actual problems that you should solve in your job. And this is what I enjoy. I am very much a single focus person. I'm able to have many balls in the air, but I have one monitor, I have one terminal with VI and Tmux in, and I'd like to focus on one problem. And also, I happen to be a pretty lazy bastard. So if I can rely on the work of the experts, I will do it. Because then I can focus on the stuff that makes my company, my manager, my team, or my product manager, such as Ben happy. So this is a really, really nice part of it. So what Fedora does to open source projects, somehow Hummingbird does it in a container native way, and it avoids a lot of redundancy. So everything we do is open source. All our Git repositories are public, and the machinery that we're building, I'm really excited about this, as you can tell. But if there is a project that likes how we're building it, but we don't yet provide an image or ship an image for the specific project, it will be and is already dead easy to onboard a new RPM and onboard a new image, and then the machines take care of maintaining it. So this is the really great part of all the modern tools and Tecton and Conflux being called in the Red Hat world, and having all of this run in a cloud native way. As again, I'm a lazy guy. If I can automate work, I'll do it. And here we automate things that have historically been done manually by a lot of people. And this continues to happen for sure in parallel as well. But for the needs of Hummingbird, it's an amazing experience. And this is really cool. It reduces a lot of redundancy. We can find the best practices, the patterns for the individual images. We have to test for them. So it's pretty great. And I feel like Hummingbird for me as a user gets out of my way as much as Fedora gets out of my way, because I don't need to worry about all these things anymore. It just works. It's a pretty cool experience.
And so what's interesting, right, is you said you talked about the latest a lot, right? And if we talk about like images and like the tag latest versus direct versioning, like technically speaking, right, historically, we would tell people, yeah, don't use latest, right? Don't use latest because you don't know what's in there. And I feel like that narrative, I mean, as with anything that's very black and white, there's always a, it's really not. It's actually like a spectrum of grays. But with Project Hummingbird and what we're doing, like the promise of like, I know it's a strives to be, not an actual promise. I want to be very clear. We strive to be 0 CVE. That's literally like a moving target, cat and mouse game, right? We said that. But like with that level of dedication to put like what we're putting into each of these images, it almost is like, actually, yeah, if you're using a Project Hummingbird image, maybe you should be tracking the latest. Now, there's always, of course, potential, compatibility things and so forth like that you got to look for. Again, a really solid CI system is what you should spend the majority of your time working on. That's my.
This is a long. How much time do we have? This is.
13 minutes left. Don't worry, we'll get through. I'm sure you had other stuff you wanted to say, but I think that's really interesting, because I think that we do need to start thinking about if we're consuming something like the images from Project Hummingbird. Or like libraries, like specifically hardened libraries. You know what? That conversation around latest, we need to change that.
Here, I shared with you a blog post I wrote last year. So since you use, I'm joking, the L word, the latest tag. In theory, you're right. Right, from a security perspective, your app, you can absolutely use the latest tag. But if you do, please use a digest. I elaborate on the blog post here why. I'm a huge fan of semantic versioning.
Mm-hmm.
So I will always advocate, and not always, let's not play Sith. I will, for most use cases, advocate for using a mix of a non-latest tag in combination with a digest. So you have something like MariaDB : 1.2.3 at, and then you have the checksum of the image. Why? When you specify a specific version, you can pin it to the specific semantic versioning that you're following. Am I still audible?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Oops, something went wrong. Try reloading the page. Okay, I'm not.
Don't touch
there was
it.
just as. No, I'm not touching it. I'm sorry. So you can pin it and follow specific version branches, which is nice because then you get what you see in a way, right? You follow contract of semantic versioning, but with the digest, you know exactly which image was being used. And then tools such as Renovate Bot can really take care of updating it. That being said, Hummingbird doesn't only ship the latest and greatest version of a given upstream, but we follow the stable and LTS branches of the given upstreams. So for some use cases, like on my developer machine, I usually tend to enjoy using the latest and greatest version of like toolchains, Rust, Golang, or whatever node. But for my deployments here and there, I enjoy pinning them to stable versions to not have too many updates all the time. So here, it really depends on the use case. But in theory, yeah, you can use the latest there.
Yeah, you don't have to use literally at latest, right? Although you can. And I know when I was looking through, like I said, I was just going through Renovate Bot, instrumentation and docs last couple of days. One thing that they recommended, I think in their own docs, maybe it was a blog I read, I can't remember, it all bleeds together now, was the you can pin a range. So you can pin to a specific version, or you can call out a version range. So between these versions, this version and this version. And
don't upgrade Python to this until I'm ready. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another option. But again, like really kind of the point I was making was the concept around like I see it a lot, especially in enterprise. Like people will stick on one version of something for a really long time, and that's the value add. I guess what I'm trying to get at, the value add of things like Hummingbird and hardened libraries, et cetera, that we're working on here is that we can change those conversations, and it stops being about, well, we don't know what's in there, and starts being about, well, we just got to validate compatibility, right? You reduce it down to what I really have to care about only for my job, I guess is what you said, but kind of like what I'm trying to call out as a new part of the conversation around versions and upgrades and image tags and latest, etc.
Yeah.
Hey, so before we run out of time, can I plug the best parts about?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I probably should have led with this in hindsight, but that's okay. Yeah, just so real quick. So this is new. We're still building it. So set your expectations. But Hilliary put a link in the chat to sign up for early access. We'd love for everybody to do that. You'll get an eval guide that shows you all the links, like where the repos are, how to get in touch with us, a few little exercises to get comfortable with the images in the catalog. And so, that's one thing, like come on the journey with us, right? There's no secrets in open source. It's all public. Let's do it together. Second thing, these images are freely available and redistributable. So anybody can access this. It's, and that will be the same once we hit GA here in Q2 or whenever, right? So that's a great thing. If you want support for it, you will have to be a Red Hat customer, which means a RHEL or OpenShift user. But anybody else can still use this stuff, right? So if you still have access, and so this is just a great way to like make, like, why should secure stuff only be behind a firewall somewhere, right? And so that's how we're doing this forward. So I think this is going to be huge. I've already moved like a ton of my personal stuff over to Hummingbird. It works freaking fantastic. And I think Valentin said this earlier. The roadmap is public on the repo, so you can kind of see where we are on getting our builds going and these types of things. But yeah, so
yeah. And so I think there was one thing Valentin said, and we didn't talk about it in depth, which was, Valentin, you said if we don't have an image for you, it's easy to onboard. So is there going to be like some sort of self-service, here's my thing, please build me a secure image instrumentation coming down the line? Is that what that meant?
We do have docs already on how to onboard and
Okay.
your image, how to build them. Everything's automated. And since I'm pretty excited about how we were building it. So this was the first product that I was working on when it was built, with AI agents in mind. Doesn't mean that we were vibe coding everything and just let the agents do it. But we do make use of agents while working. And on a face-to-face, we actually set down Ben's boss at one of our workstations to onboard, what was it, Node? Yeah. I think one Node RPM, and literally just in front of a Claude code prompt. Ben's boss wrote down, this is what I want to do, now do it, and it worked. So this was really, really cool just to see, where our docs are and how we're building it and how easy things can be if we build them to be easy. So adding new content, new RPMs. So in fact, I should have mentioned we have two repositories, mono repositories for the nerds. I'm very, very excited about this. With two big pipelines. One big pipeline is to build the components, the RPMs. One big repository, which build and feed into an RPM repository. And then another Git repository for the container images, which consume, the content from the RPM repository. And both are pretty easy to deal with. You don't need any exotic tools to build the containers. You do a Putman build and you're done, or just follow the instructions. So long story short, onboarding an image is pretty straightforward. It's well documented. At the moment, we're focusing more on the engineering side or research side into building the RPMs, because our initial MVP is based on Fedora Rawhide for the reason of Rawhide being bleeding edge, moving very fast. So in spirit, we're in this Fedora, CentOS, RHEL ecosystem. Essentially, the spec files are the same. We just need to lifecycle them differently for Hummingbird. This is why we built our own pipeline. But so you can see it as a parallel sibling distribution in parallel or next to Fedora, CentOS, and RHEL, with code and fixes flowing in all directions from and to Hummingbird to the other sibling distributions. So this is super exciting and really nice to build. So very long answer for a simple question of onboarding images is easy, onboarding RPMs is easy. So if there's something missing, we can easily add that. And it's open source. Feel free to open a merge request, right?
Yeah.
Just don't ask us to ship a bunch of crypto miners, okay? I don't want to do that.
Oh. I saw, sorry, that reminded me. I saw a meme yesterday, day before, something like that. It was like an image of the human body with like a heat map of a human body, and it's like normal, and then like if you've got a fever, and it said that if you are infected with a virus, your body temperature rises due to the heat of the virus using your cells for crypto mining.
Nice.
And I don't know. It was just kind of unexpected. I wasn't like, when I saw the images, like I didn't know where it was going. And I was like, all right, that's where we took it. But I'm not mad. It was pretty good.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's a silly joke. It's fun. I like silly jokes like that. It's like very, very,
Make me
very
laugh as well.
Silly little nerd humor. Right. Awesome. So we already said how to follow along, get involved, use the request access link I dropped in the chat. I do want to acknowledge, I did see some comments come through in the chat that didn't seem to be synchronized up to our conversation. I do believe there may have been a delay between us actually talking and YouTube by potentially a couple of minutes. That has happened in the past. So I want to apologize to the commenters. Like, I do see your comments. You know, is anybody experiencing burnout? I'm not really sure. Was that just related to how hard it is to fight security fires? Because if so, yes, absolutely. I think we all are. That's why we're doing these things. I like that I made you laugh with my blah phrasing. I just want to acknowledge the comments. I'm just like, sorry, we didn't really come to them real time, because when they finally did show up for us, on my end of things, it just wasn't synchronized to where we were in the conversation. Normally we try to interact with the audience a little bit better. It wasn't really feasible, but we want to thank everybody for watching. And yeah, this was episode 99. 100 is in 2 weeks. I'm really excited to figure out what we're doing. And I want to thank Ben and Valentin for coming in, talking about Project Hummingbird. I know that, getting hit up randomly on Slack with, hey, come present on this thing you've never heard of before, it can be a little bit intimidating, but you guys did a great job. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, so I'm going to end the stream. There's going to be a little bit of an awkward silence as we wait for the stream to fully end, and I apologize for that. Johnny's not here to make it smoother. It is what it is. Until then, or until next time, I will remind everybody to choose your technical